What's going on, everyone, from LowKick MMA? My name is Dave Podolsky. Very special interview here with Joe Bodybags Pyfer. He's coming off his amazing win against Abdul Razak Alhassan. Joe, thank you so much for taking the time.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Glad I ran into you, and whatever you got, I got it.
Now, before we get going, we are here at Art of War Cage Fighting 32, and your guy Cade just picked up a knockout win. He must have feeling pretty good about that.
Yeah, good 13-second knockout. You know, it wasn't much coaching, didn't really need to say anything. Only tip I gave him was come out with that jab, get real long. He came out a little rushed, trying to get to him. I know he's antsy to fight, prove himself, and it paid off, man. Hit him with a nice one, too, put him out. Easy night, quick.
It's got to be nice for you, getting to sit in the corner, especially watching your fight win. You're relaxed now, your fight's over, you get to see your teammates win and support them.
Yeah, no, it's, I don't have any anxiety or stress, not having anything booked, so it's nice to just relax and enjoy fighting. I don't get to do that too often because I'm always, preparing for something of my own, so I'm really happy for the kid, and I've given him a lot of shit and told him he wasn't a killer until he got a knockout, so now the kid's a killer.
I was about to say, can't really say he's not a killer now. Yeah. Quick 1-2, put him out, call is nasty.
Yeah.
You're one of 4 fighters in the Art of War Cage Fighting Hall of Fame. It's got to be nice for you coming back here and seeing, now that you're in the UFC, you've almost kind of graduated from this regional scene, but you still have, I'm assuming you still have some sort of love for the promotion.
Yeah, no, I talked to Mike Bickings, the owner of Art of War, pretty frequent when he has shows.
Yeah.
I was always asked if I can come out and support. Obviously the answer is always yes. I've never had bad terms with them. I had a lot of fights with them. That's where I started my career. Yeah. Really, I had 2 fights before I came over here, and then I was with them for 7, 8 fights or whatever it was. So being able to pay my respect and come back and let people know that you're never too big to come back to where you started.
100%. There's a lot of great Philadelphia fighters right now. How do you feel about the current state of MMA in Philly?
I think it's making a big wave. I think it recently made the comeback. I think the guys have all, when I say recently made the comeback, we've all been around and we were all building our careers, but now we're finally reaching the point in our careers where you have multiple 5, 6 UFC guys on the roster that are from this area. So we finally built ourselves up, and I think we have a big enough wave to bring the UFC the fuck back to the Wells Fargo Center.
I was about to say, the biggest question, you got to be searching for a UFC event in Philly.
Yeah.
And as a reporter from Philly, we could sell out the Wells Fargo Center. I'll be in Philly.
Yeah, it was a great show when they were last here. I don't know what the issue is or why they won't. But I'm sure they have their business reasons. It is what it is. But even if it was AC, that's close to home too. And I hope that card still somewhere down the line happens. So I would love to be on it.
One, sort of setback towards not having the fights go to Philly right now is you can make an argument that there's not necessarily a superstar from Philly, which is kind of BS when you consider that they've gone other places with the main event not being guys from there. But if that is the argument for Philly, I feel like you could be that next Philadelphia superstar in the end.
Listen, I don't think it's based off of it. There's a superstar necessarily. They go to Canada and they have a huge turnout just because of how big the culture is there and how they support their people. I wouldn't say that there's necessarily a superstar behind every place that they go. And if that's the case, so be it. But, it's really, I'm a trending superstar in my head. So, I'm 3-0, 3 finishes. You got Sean Brady, who's in the top 10. Andre, who was on a 5-fight win streak. Obviously, you got Jeremiah Wells that's been finishing fights. And obviously Pat Sabatini. They're all on my team, which is why I'm mentioning them. But yeah, I'm undefeated in the UFC, and I don't plan on losing anytime soon. So if it's a matter of a superstar, just stay waiting. I'm on pending.
Hey, first off, be Joe Pyfer. It's cool for me to say that directly to you, but
yeah.
And you've really taken that mantra from Dana and just ran with it. And it's every time.
I wouldn't say I've taken the mantra. I think I've used it in a way where it's like, hey, listen, be Joe Pyfer isn't trying to mimic me fighting wise or everything I say. Be Joe Pyfer is the intention. That's what I took from the be Joe Pyfer. And the reason I want to clarify that and stop doing that is because I sense some jealousy from a lot of other fighters and shit, which they can go fuck themselves. It is what it is. Like, I don't have to apologize for something that someone gave as a compliment for one of the biggest moments in my life. So I'm not apologetic for that. But, I sense a lot of jealousy, a lot of people that don't really understand what that means. And what be Joe Pyfer means is, the intention. When I was the only one that got the contract that night, I feel like besides my boy Dennis Bazookia, who got in the UFC, who I campaigned for, that night to get a contract as well, The other fighters, you didn't see that bad intention, you didn't see the excitement, you didn't see the emotion, you didn't feel the energy that this was their one and only shot. This was my one and only shot. It could have been my last shot, you know, after the freak accident from the first one. So beat Joe Pyfer means just fucking bring that energy and go out there and try to kill these motherfuckers. That's what I'm trying to do.
The thing about beat Joe Pyfer, right? If you had taken that and then went, you know, 2-2 and got cut from the UFC, that'd be one thing. But you've taken that since then. It's been 3 dominant performances. You keep getting better with each performance.
Yeah, you know, but that's what I always tell people off camera all the time. When I win, I don't just skate by. You know, I dominate people. If I'm going to win, you're going to be able to tell because I'm dominating from bell to bell. You know, obviously, I just fought a tough guy, a dangerous guy. Wasn't a super high rank guy, but it was a guy that could take everything from you and make you look stupid, or you know, expose if you're not really a good striker, if you're not, you know, you don't really have the power that you say. So, you know, I haven't fought anybody that's in the top 15. That there's still a ton of fights, but you know, this is also the part of maturing, developing your career, and there's no reason for me to rush. You know, I know that's an unpopular thing with a lot of people that will talk shit from the outside, but this is also something that I'm in for financially. So yeah, you know, I mean, in due time, people will understand that the level I am is very high.
And I think, you know, for anyone who had doubts, your second UFC fight is Gerald Mearshart, 25 veteran. Your last fight's Abdul Razak Alhassan, a guy with one of the hardest hitters at 85.
All knockouts, 12 wins, 12 knockouts.
Look at Alhassan's highlight reel. It's in terms of just knockouts.
It's intimidating.
It's intimidating. I'm sure it is. And you've dominated all of these guys.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, I mean, it's just a testimony to how hard I work and how much I believe in myself. There's no secret ingredient other than if there was, it's my self-belief. There's not a man you can put in that cage that I don't think I can beat, that I don't believe there's a path to win. And it's really just about overcoming the doubts in your mind leading up to it. You know, that's just a test of what we do and natural instincts. So yeah, I mean, fuck all these guys, man. These motherfuckers are trying to hurt me and sign the paper, and that's it. That is what it is. So when I go out there, it's not to just win, it's to dominate and trash it.
Top 15 next.
I don't know. You know what I mean? I gotta get a couple injuries healed up, so I'm waiting to get stem cell treatment. And I really would love to fight Paul Craig. I don't like the guy's face. I don't really like anything about him. I think he's another Gerald Mearshart, just a little bit better, just because he's, I think, a bigger, more in shape guy. But yeah, I mean, sure. We're gonna talk about our contract and move forward. But yeah, I mean, let's go.
Well, let me ask you, after the Alhassan fight, how are you healing up? You mentioned the stem cell. Are there any other injuries that are here?
Yeah, I mean, I got injuries, so I'm not going to disclose what they are. We're going to put them out there. I got injuries. I got to get them taken care of if I want to give myself the best shot and a new contract and start taking on this different step of competition. But you know, yeah. So I don't know when that time frame is. So I got a little bit of time, probably early next year. But yeah, when I know, you guys will know.
100%. Well, I mean, I'll push for a Philadelphia card. Let's say February, March of next year. You healed up and you're on that card.
Yeah, well, I mean, if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, then we got to go do business wherever that is.
And you know, you mentioned Paul Craig. Are there any other burning names that come to your mind? I know you're not one of this.
Yeah, Paul Craig, Rodolfo Vieira, Andre Muniz. You know, any of them. I think those are good fights. Even Chris Curtis, I think, would be a good fight for me. And the trajectory I'm going, and you know, and if it's not in the top 15, I'm cool with that too. Let me just keep fucking everybody up till I get the biggest contract I can.
I like the names you mentioned there. You know, maybe not Curtis, but Muniz, Vieira, Paul Craig.
Yeah.
Those
are my top 3.
The common, you know, denominator there, BJJ black belts.
Yeah. Well, hey, look, everybody slept on my jiu-jitsu. I don't think anybody realized that, like, I'm a brown belt in jiu-jitsu. I started my first love at 4.5 years old was jiu-jitsu. I'm not a collegiate wrestler, but I had good wrestling. And yeah, I mean, I think these guys, when you start out, everybody wants to say that, oh, you know, you haven't fought a grappler or a striker. Well, now I fought a striker and I fought a grappler, and I haven't gotten a touch. So it is what it is. You know? I
mean, there's no doubt. I mean, Gerald Mearshart maybe not at the same level as some of those guys, but I mean, that guy has the most submissions in middleweight history.
Which meant nothing.
Fair enough.
I don't look at your records. I don't give a fuck. I care about your record in the UFC, and that man was 9-6 or 10-6. So and now he's 10-8. So you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
look, you can say whatever record, most submission wins, all this bullshit, but at the end of the day, it's if you're not a contender for the title, you're not going to beat them.
Fair enough. Well, you know, in your division, big fight coming up tomorrow, Usman versus Chimaev, both guys moving up from 170. How do you see that fight playing out?
So I've never been a fan of Kamaru Usman's striking. I think it's very, I don't want to say amateur, but I think it's very basic, which is good. Basics win fights, but I don't think his defense is all that good. I think he gets hit a lot. So having said that, I think he's really good at distance. I think he's really good at obviously wrestling, and I think he's really good at, being able to keep the fight at his pace and dictate where it goes. You're reading a guy that's a big guy that was at welterweight. I mean, obviously Khamzat had a hard fight with Gilbert Burns. I don't know if that's really going to matter. I'm afraid that Usman's going to get knocked out. And if he doesn't get knocked out early, I do have Usman winning. So I'm not sold on Khamzat Chimaev yet, or however you pronounce his name. I love watching him. I'm a fan of it, just like you guys are. But yeah, I mean, I think Usman gets the upset, and I think Islam gets the finish, believe it or not.
Sir, you're taking Islam too.
I am. I'm taking Islam. I'm taking Usman, and I'm also interested to see how that Nurmagomedov
Saeed and Louis Yafro.
the bullet guy.
Yeah. Oh, Shara.
Yeah. So he's my weight division. I'll be watching that.
Is that, Shara Magomedov, he's obviously kind of in your position in a way that he's like the up and coming prospect, although he hasn't fought in the UFC yet, but is that a name you'd be interested in?
No, not for the trajectory I'm going. Like I'm not gonna work 3 fights. I never really understood it until I'm in it, but I'm not gonna go and win 3 fights and then allow a guy to compete for my position when he's fighting a guy that's been knocked out like 2 times in a row. It's just not. No, I'm going to watch him. I'm going to have respect for anybody that's undefeated coming in here, and he's a big name with a lot of anticipation around it. So yeah, I mean, I'm going to watch everybody. I watch everybody as it is. So yeah, I mean, it's interesting. I do think he gets the win. I think he's going to have a better cardio, speed. So it'll be fun, man. Good card.
Joe, congrats on the win against Alhassan. You looked amazing. Thank you so much for taking time.
Thank
My
you.
final question: how about those Phillies?
How about them Phillies? I don't watch fucking baseball, but yeah, I mean, what are they leading the series 2-1?
They're up 2-1 right now.
They're up 2-1 right now. Yeah, I know a lot of people around me are hyped about it. I'm not a baseball guy, but anything Philly sports related, I hope they win.
Fair enough.
Amen.
Joe, thank you so much for taking the time.
Thank you.
Guys, Joe Bodybags Pyfer coming off a dominant win over Abdul Razak Alhassan. This guy's gonna be in the top 15. He's gonna be a champion one day. Joe, thanks so much for taking the time.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Make sure to subscribe to the LowKick MMA YouTube channel for all the latest news, event previews, and interviews with some of the biggest stars in MMA.